morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Scizor-Radio. So today, it might be time to have another look at Scizor-GX. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Scizor-GX, since it came out, has seen very little play and very little love, despite the fact that it seems like a really good card. It seems to have quite a lot of potential. So I thought, right, maybe it's time to have another look. And the reason is the upcoming card, Island Challenge Amulet. Yes, it has gone and been banned over in Expanded, but it has not been banned over in Standard. And that's what I'm having a chat about here. As a side note, Scizor-GX was Celestial Storm, so it will be legal for another year. Now, at this stage, I do need to have a shout out to the lovely Talonite X, who's been helping us out with some Japanese deck lists lately. I'd been thinking about this new Scizor combo, but it was a tweet from them that really made me think, right, time to go and make a video. So shout out to them for being awesome and lovely and wonderful and helpful. So Scizor-GX then. What we have is a really nice ability whereby if you have 100 HP remaining or less, you do an extra 30 damage. And yes, this ability can be turned off by stuff like Power Plant, blah blah blah. Play your own stadium, you'll be fine. And then for one metal, one colorless energy, it does 80 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, you take 30 less from attacks. You've also got a really nice GX attack that for free colorless energy does 200 damage to an evolution Pokemon, or 280 if you've got 100 or less HP remaining. So essentially here your goal should be very simple. You've got a GX attack that should basically KO any evolution Pokemon, so you want to have 100 or less HP remaining so that you can go ahead and smash for 160 with Steel Wing. And that's where Island Challenge Amulet mostly comes in. You see, Island Challenge Amulet is a new item card, a new tool, that you attach to a Pokemon EX or GX, and it reduces your maximum HP by 100, which is sad, but it also means you give up one less prize if KO'd by damage from your opponent's attack, which is happy. And the other thing to remember at the moment, that with Field Blower gone, we just don't have good ways to get rid of tools. Yeah, we've got Faber, but no one's actually playing Faber at the moment. So what that basically means is that your opponent is just not going to be able to get rid of it, meaning that they have to take you down and take one prize. And okay, you're going down to essentially 100 HP deliberately, but because you're only giving up one prize, you don't really care very much. It's really not a big issue. But we do have two issues. Issue number one, Island Challenge Amulet brings you down to 110 HP, which is not quite low enough to activate your ability. And number two, it's a 2 energy attack. Well, that's where Rainbow Energy comes in. Rainbow Energy, when you attach it, you do 1 damage, which is sad. Except not on Scizor, because then all of a sudden Scizor goes from 110 to 100, and that Rainbow Energy will activate the ability instantly. Yes. The other thing we've got here is that it becomes a single colorless energy attack. Now, I still think we need to pay this in one turn, and I'm sorry, I know I suggest this in far too many videos, and I'm honestly not even particularly upset about it. Tapu Koko Prism Star. One of the most broken cards we've got in the format at the moment. Fight me in the comment section if you disagree. When it's on the bench, you can pop it in the Lost Zone and then attach 2 energy, 1 to each of 2 bench Pokemon from the discard pile. It's really nice at getting the energy on there. So this can essentially set up 2 of your Scizor. Of course, you could also play it with something like Malamar to accelerate a little bit of psychic energy. Or you could play it with Naganadel Quagsire to get a bit of water energy on, though I do contend that is potentially a little bit awkward, having 2 different stage 1s. The point is, you only need 1 energy, and it can be a colorless energy, so it really doesn't matter what energy it is, as long as you've got a way to accelerate it. And I do think you need a way to accelerate it, because the last piece of the puzzle we're really looking at here is Guzman Hana. Guzman Hana lets you search for a stadium, which ironically you're not that worried about. But then if you discard 2 cards from your hand, you can go ahead and search for a tool and a special energy. Oh, look. That's exactly what you need. Island Challenge Amulet and a rainbow energy. Now, I still stress one more time. You've got to be able to get the other energy on there. Because otherwise, you just bring yourself down to 100 HP and then you get KO'd. And we're in a format at the moment where with stuff like Welder decks running around and Malamar decks running around, etc., 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 there are just too many decks that can just hit 100 nice and easily. Lightning decks have the combination of Thunder Mountain, Prism Star, and Tapu Koko, so something like a Pikachu and Zekrom that should be a free energy attack turns into a 1 energy attack. You are too slow if you're doing 2 attachments on consecutive turns. It needs to be Guzman Hana, Island Challenge Amulet, Rainbow Energy, and then something like Tapu Koko, Malamar, whatever, and then you're good to go. But then when this is rolling, you're really rolling. I mean, against something like a Gardevoir and Sylveon, you're getting a very easy one-hit KO. And that's one of the biggest decks in the format at the moment. Against anything else, alright, you're hitting 160, but actually, Jirachi and Dedenne are running around at the moment, and they've got 160 HP. So you can just get rid of them. Nope, no problems here at all. Except for the fact that Dedenne has a resistance to metal, and that you are hitting exactly 160. That is actually a gigantic problem, because it means you don't get a one-hit KO on Dedenne. And that actually makes me genuinely sad. Now, if we were in the expanded format, then we would have an option here. We would have a stadium that could take away resistance and life would be good. Who wants to name it? It's Magnetic Storm from way back in Flashfire. There was also Ruins of Alpha, a card that I liked very much indeed, but that's not even in the expanded format. Incidentally, it does the exact same thing as Magnetic Storm, in that it just removes weakness from both players in play. The point is, boo! Because we don't have it, alright? We just don't have it. Resistance is a huge problem and there's not much we can do about it, unfortunately. But there's nothing to stop you doing a bit of damage to the bench, or maybe even playing something like Shrine of Punishment, which could be searched out with Guzman Hana. Shrine of Punishment would do damage to you as well, but you're only giving up 1 pride, you've only got 100 HP by the time this is rolling. It's not the end of the world. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I think it would probably hurt your opponent a lot more than it would hurt you, so I think that's alright. And the other thing to think here is that if you're against an evolution deck, you can use triple acceleration energy. Now, quick side note here, triple acceleration energy would mean that you're using Island Challenge Amulet and not actually going down to 100 HP remaining. You would still have 10 too much. So maybe Shrine of Punishment slightly before you play that. So if you played a Shrine of Punishment and put all of your Scizor down by 10 HP, then Island Challenge Amulet would work. That is an option, and there's no other stadium you desperately need to play here. But just bear in mind, right, that if you want to use the GX attack, triple acceleration energy is great. Guzman and Hana will search for it, but you do run into an issue that you don't necessarily get the extra damage. And a lot of the evolution decks around at the moment, you don't need the extra damage. 200 is fine. It's just something to bear in mind. Of course, there is a strong argument to put Island Challenge Amulet on anyway, because you're weak to Reshiram and Charizard. Although if you're really worried about it, play Metal Frying Pan. Takes away your weakness. And again, we don't have Field Blower at the moment. And yes, I know that Metal Frying Pan is instead of Island Challenge Amulet, but it's not a big problem. Except Reshiram and Charizard can actually do 230, which will get a KO regardless of weakness. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a big problem. I don't know how much of a powerhouse this is going to be. All I know is it is significantly better than it was before. We can now essentially instantly put ourselves down to enough HP that we get the ability working. And that makes it way better than it has been before. Not to mention we're getting the ability working while only giving up a single prize. I cannot be the only one that thinks this is kind of fun, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot be the only one. So there we go. A new combo to have a play with, a new card to be, well, given a bit of a try. But I'd like to know what you think about it, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWazzy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WazzyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would you? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.